Hello and welcome to my channel. Today is 10 AM, which is the middle of the night for me, because I didn't get to bed till 5. It is really bright, as you can see. It's currently 18 degrees here in England. So I'm going to do a makeup trick that I've seen a lot online to help keep my foundation as matte as possible, and also sweatproof, and I think it's classed as waterproof too. So let's crack on. The first thing I'm going to do is, it's important to have so much hydration for this. I'm a oily combination skin type, so you will see why in a minute. It's important to be hydrated as much as possible. My skin is all prepped, so the first thing I'm going to do is add a little more hydration by using the Flawless Mist and Fix Makeup Setting Spray Dewy Finish by Barry M. Moisture. And then the next step I'm going to do, which is the reason we need all this extra hydration, is I'm going to take a loose face powder and put it in my oiliest areas, the places I sweat the most on my face. I'm going to use the Coty Air Spun loose face powder. If you're wondering why I'm talking louder than usual, it's because I'm using a fan on the lowest heater because it's so hot, and extra hot in this room with the no opening windows. So to do this, you use a damp beauty blender. It's getting a lot of powder through the little sifter thing inside it. Thankfully there's enough stuff on my table as well that the loose powder isn't going to fly everywhere with the fan on. So you just, I don't know why this is broken, but it is like fairly new. It's got a tear in it and it is clean. Not 100%, it's hard to get it off. But yeah. So you just scoop some up, and it's kind of like when you're baking. So for me, that's all along my hairline where I sweat the most. I feel it is blowing off the powder from my face. Turn that off for a minute. Just want to coat it in quite a bit of powder. On my nose. Ugh, this powder does actually just get everywhere anyway. And it's like it's snowing in here. Shaking up a bit more. You don't want to use this all over your face because it will really dry out, and if you have dry skin you definitely don't want to do this, because it will just, suck out any moisture, the little moisture that you do have as a dry skin type. Not a lot comes through my sifter, but I'm scared if I take that bit off, then I will just lose half of it. And it's not expensive, but that's not the point. And then we just let that bake. for 5 minutes, so I'll be back in 5 minutes. I was wondering if there's a little bit too much light coming in from the window, because it's coming at the side, and I know the optimal light would be coming from this way, but I don't have any windows outside. And I don't want to put my table this way, because it just wouldn't look right with the room. Anyway, so I did my eyebrows quickly off camera. Now what I'm going to do is take a fluffy clean brush, just wipe that powder off. Oh, that brush is naff. Ugh. Put a little bit on my lids because they get very greasy. This powder looks like it's gonna be like like a almost permanent stain colour or something. Stupid phone app just messed up my filming. It's the problems when you film with your phone. I really hope this works with the fan on low, because I just can't cope without some air. I do not do well in heat waves. I'm going to use foundation. I'm just using the tester that I got of Estee Lauder Double Wear. I forgot the name of it then. I hope this is not too dark for me actually. Yeah, it is. That's the wrong colour tester. I'll quickly get the right one. I can't find my other tester with a different shade. And conveniently I can't find my Milani foundation, which I just saw it and I was sure I picked it up and brought it into here. And it's just vanished. So I'm going to use my Bourjois foundation and mix it with my Estee Lauder Double Wear, because this isn't, the Bourjois one isn't a matte foundation, and the point is you do want to use matte, so you know, because the point is like I'm sweaty and I have oily skin. So let's see if mixing it makes it a little bit more matte, the Bourjois foundation more matte or not. This isn't the tester, this is the proper Estee Lauder one. Also a different colour. I have like 3 different Estee Lauders in 3 different colours, because colour matching my skin has been so difficult. Doesn't matter so much because in this, all this sun and that, I'm gonna tan anyway, so I'll probably end up matching it. And I'm gonna use a brush to buff my makeup on, but first I'm going to use some setting spray again, just to make sure everything stays on as long as possible in this heat. So I will be going outside today a lot. Very busy on Thursdays. I'm using the all-nighter spray, Urban Decay. That's probably closer than it's supposed to be, but you know, with the fan going, I don't want to risk it flying off into the atmosphere instead of on my face. So let's buff this in using stippling motions. Because that way, like, the brush won't soak up so much and it won't leave any streaks. But I will pat over it with my beauty blender anyway. actually it's my Miracle Complexion sponge by Real Techniques, because I ain't forking out £16 for a beauty blender when I can get one that's at least equally as good for, what is it, £6? This foundation's looking a little bit too dark actually, but I'm sure once I'm out in the sunlight it won't matter so much. The struggle of trying to get your makeup to be the right colour. Did I say that I'd done my eyebrows off camera while I was waiting for it to bake? I don't think I did, but yeah. But, you know, because I've got to leave soon, I'm actually fitting in a hairdresser's appointment before I have to go into the city for a counselling appointment. Work that all in. There's really good coverage. You can still see my texture with that, and my pores actually, but I don't use a pore primer. I actually forgot to use primer before I after I did the dewy mist and before I did my foundation, no, before I did the translucent powder trick. Annoyingly, that foundation as well, when I realised it was the wrong colour, it dried in, settled into my skin, so there I have a patch that's a slightly dark patch. Just make sure to bring this down my neck. So yeah, now that it's buffed in, I would say that is a pretty good foundation colour. I was worried that there wasn't enough light. So, where was I? Yeah, just pick up my mirror, put it this way. But, I think that colour will do. Not 100% happy with it, but when am I ever? Now to conceal under my eyes. Going back to the Fit Me. I'm a little out of breath because I had to find my power bank to plug in my light. The power bank that was in here was not charged. I'm just doing a little bit of concealer. Getting this sponge from Real Techniques. Just pat the concealer in. I don't know if you noticed as well, I forgot to point it out, that my foundation actually went on really well, despite you know, the fact that there is translucent powder on it first. Don't think that sponge works very well dry me, or at least this is not blending under my eyes that well. Trying to pull this face to stop. See if I could get the concealer on without it going into my fine lines. The struggle is real. Now for a bit more powder, just to make sure those bits are really matte and Sweatproof and just shaking up my powder while the lid is on to get it to come up through the thing. I forgot what a thing is. The sifter. Right. I'm not going to use any more under my eyes actually because my eyes are very dry in general. Just put the powder here. It doesn't matter if it gets a bit in my hairline because I'm about to have my hair washed and blow dried. That'll be a good test as well to see just how waterproof this is. Just put a tiny bit of powder on my cheeks to set that, because that does get a bit sweaty and oily even, not sweaty. The nose is the oiliest nose in the whole wide world. But what can you do? Take a clean brush again, just because I'm not baking this, there's no point. One good thing about this translucent powder, I don't think it's supposed to do this, but it does lighten my foundation slightly. I'm going to quickly do the rest of my makeup off cam. I'm going to keep it really simple today. Okay, so that's my makeup done off camera. I never really get the hang of doing, what's it called, highlighter down my nose, never quite looks right. I'm going to put on a nude lipstick as soon as I find where I left it. Annoying. But this is the rest of my makeup. It's quite simple, I feel. I'll include a bit down so you can see the lids. I'll include everything I used in the description bar below. It's going to pop on some setting spray, but I thought I'd do it on camera so you can see just how much setting spray I have to use for this to make sure it stays super matte and waterproof and all that. Go hard or go home, am I right? I'm right. I'll do a wear test later and check in. So see you then. I'm back for the one and only check-in of the day. So that technique was very interesting experiment, I think. It was so hot today, even though I don't do any walking because I have a mobility scooter. I still had like a thick, constant puddle of sweat basically on my head. It being 27, 28 degrees today. I'm not sure how well you can see it. I've been playing with the lighting. Like, this is the most flattering one. It is like 10:30 at night now. So I had this makeup on for literally 12 hours. But if I put on the unflattering light so you can see very well, I think this one was better. This one you can see, I don't know how well you can see, but I've got the eyeshadow stayed on pretty well. It's a little faded from the end, like the inner corners, the outer corner. There's a tiny bit of blush. The foundation is on, but it's very patchy. It's vanished from my top lip, my bottom lip, this part of my chin is gone. The highlight's disappeared off my nose. It's difficult because what I see in the mirror is not the same as what I see when I look into my phone where I'm recording. And this light is pretty bright, maybe a bit too bright. I don't know if I turn it down, would that help? Yeah, then you can see like the colour. Annoyingly, I forgot to take a picture of my makeup because I was kind of in a rush today, and then I was just so boiling hot. Oh, annoyingly my light went off. I have to plug the light into power socket. There we go. Turn it down a little bit more again. So yeah, there was like a big piece of the foundation had just completely gone, and the contour that I did, it's gone from the acne scar as well. At this stage, it looks more like a tinted moisturiser, I'd say, but some bits, like here on my cheeks especially, bit down there, same on this side, it looks, and on my, even on my eyelids actually, it's actually looking really powdery, and I guess that's what cakey is. So if you go like this on my fingers, you can, the colour comes off. I don't know how well you can see the colour. Yeah, but it gets rid of that line. This side doesn't really have the line, interestingly. You can just about make out, I've got some highlight there still. The brows are just clinging on by a thread. Which is not bad at all, actually, for the amount on there, considering it's just a brow pencil. And NYX at that stage, but NYX is really good for low cost. I took my lipstick off earlier because it was just annoying me the amount I needed to drink in general today. I had like well over 2.5 litres. I would say I'm pushing, if not at 3 litres, which is great. I'm hydrated. But yeah, so it's a mixed bag as to whether or not this makeup trick with the translucent powder did work or not. I'd say 75 yes, it did. I mean, not many people wear this for 12 hours. I didn't touch up actually any of my makeup today, except for I put a little, like I cleaned it, and then I put a little bit of foundation and then a bit of contour over, because it was just a ridiculous, almost white patch in comparison to the rest of my face. But I did notice much earlier on, actually even when it got to like 6 p.m, under my eyes is looking very powdery and very cakey. I actually think it looks a little better, almost being less drying, but there's less coverage and my line's very prominent. But yeah, I wonder how different this would be if I'd worn a primer first. Some people say that primer is a scam. Some people love it. I have no particular preference myself. 9 times out of 10 I wear primer. Today I didn't because I was sort of in a rush and forgot. It just, even though it was right in front of me, 2 were right in front of me, it just went out of my mind. I just didn't remember until too late. So I'll be happy to try this again in the future when it's less hot, like when it gets back down to the lower end of the 20s. I'll give it a go. Until then, I hope this has been informative or interesting. Let me know if you give this a go or if you've done it already. And I'll see you next time on Beauty and Chronic Pain. Oh, by the way, I'm not naked. But I'm going to jump in the shower. So, bye!